Greetings, cyber citizens. Happy Hanukkah and New Year's. I come to you today. It's Cali Joe. You know me very well. And new friend Erwin Jarvis, I've known for years. So today, we're going to begin differently than we ordinarily do. I'm going to recite some poetic words, and we'll go from there. And then we'll have fun because it's the holidays. And we have some really great conversation coming for today. So let's go with it. A man that is secure and confident, we will refer to him as a real man. A real man is not intimidated by competition. A sign of a real man is they act.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
While the insecure man, we will refer to him as a man-child. A sign of a man-child is while the real man has acted, man-child stares in confusion. Most times, man-child appears aloof about what is going on. Most often, a real man needs not fight all battles, for the real man negotiates for peace. While the real man works smarter, the man-child works by the sweat of his hard labor. The real man allows the man-child's ability to do the hard labor, dwelling in the glory of his physical body. While after a day's hard labor, man-child rests his aching body. While the real man comes in like a thief in the night and conquers the man-child caught off guard. Sometimes people mistakenly believe the man-child is just because he can think and work smarter, while others enjoy the physicality of the man-child that works harder. What is your type of man? Is it Julius Caesar, Brutus, or Mark Antony? Clearly, both Eve and Cleopatra dealt with snakes in the end. How do you think of that now? Now, let's begin our conversation for the day between Erwin Jarvis and myself. Last week, to recap, Erwin Jarvis is an elderly man, but before we begin there, let's correct one error that I did make last week on talking about Luigi. I had read a story that said it could be construed as second-degree murder when the murder initially began of the CEO healthcare worker. But I had stated it was first degree in my thoughts and opinions, and that was correct. And I just want that corrected in the record. So, Erwin Jarvis, how you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Groovy. So, let's begin on our topic of an important story today brought by Martin Sheen last week. Martin Sheen might remember as a famous actor, 84 years old. He was in the movie The Departed, which had a lot of great actors. However, I will say, I'm going to do an impersonation of him. Microprocessors. See, I can't really do a great not British accent, sorry, Bostonian accent, but I did my best. I'm not an actor. I'm not a performer. However, all joking aside, Martin Sheen was discussing the issue of removing all people from death row in the federal prisons to life without parole, and he was talking about his time on the West Wing. Well, I concur. That is important, and this did happen recently, except for all but three. Zakov Sarnev, the Boston Marathon bomber, is one of those that remains on death row. Being that Watertown, Massachusetts is my old stomping ground, I'm going to abstain from any comments on that. Erwin, would you like to say anything about the death row situation?
Yeah, I was an electrician for many years, and I was with the ICP, the inmate construction program, when we were working around death row in Central Prison. In this state, there's about 150 men on death row, and there's not been an execution since 2006. There's a strong rumor that those sentences, those men will be commuted to life. The only thing preventing that from happening right now, the political ramifications of it.
That is also correct. I agree. You also made an interesting question about the individual Eric Rudolph. You don't know if he's on death row or if he has a life sentence. That is something that would be interesting to look into on this situation. Would you agree, Erwin?
Yeah, yeah. I'm from western part of the state. Uh, Eric was a big celebrity there.
Well, you're our big celebrity here, Erwin. So hopefully they checked out that thing you what was that called again? The show you were on?
The show I was on was called Fear Thy Neighbor. The episode was entitled Desperate Times, Deadly Measures. That was broadcast on April 13th, 2017.
Cool beans. Okay, Erwin, let's talk about something that's important. If we're transferring all these death row to life without parole, and we already have a high number of life without parole, it begins to the question of what happens when you age in the prison system, as you also are a geriatric prisoner. Any thoughts on that?
Not constructive. I have gotten almost no care that I would call geriatric. They don't. I get almost no medical care here at all. So I'm not really an expert on it. Even though I am an old man, I'll admit that, but I have a full head of hair.
And all your teeth. Erwin,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
you've dealt with a lot in your life, and your wife just recently passed, and I've known you for quite some time. And, wives are the first to know when something's wrong with you. And I, as your friend, I've been noticing that you have a harder time, more like a labored walking because of your limp you have. And, the very least, things like bringing you a tray from the chow hall would be better than watching you agonize. So, in thinking of geriatric care, we're going to be working in this area this year on this topic because it's just very important. And I will say, Erwin, I wish you the best when we deal with this topic because I'm really going to bother you.
Well, thank you. There are things that would be helpful. Because, like I said, they give me nothing.
I can relate with that. Erwin, I don't know if you're aware that I had cancer last year where I had surgery where it took 5 sick calls on cancer screening services where they just completely ignored them. It took me going to the courts just to get the surgery for my appendix cancer, and I was really in bad shape. And the denial of medical care of any type, especially when you're geriatric, is bogus. It's wrong. It should not be done. And we should be steadfast to speaking up on that area right there. Because I know in our state, well, people just said everybody's now getting medical care. Though it's still deficient in your prison systems, not only just North Carolina, all the way to California. Any thoughts, Sterling?
And I'm not optimistic that the situation will improve any in the near future either, because what they're doing is they're looking to save money any way they can, and by blowing you off and dismissing, they have X-rayed my hip several times and done nothing. So the people who get medical care in here are the ones who are constantly begging and crying all the time. And I've never been one for that. And so I get ignored.
And I'll admit, I've helped Erwin here a couple times through ADA claims, and he has been unusually ignored. But I can say for myself, Erwin, I mean, I'm dealing with my own issues in the aftermath of my cancer because I had to eat so much food just to keep my weight up. And then after I had my surgery, I'm still used to eating the food like I'm eating. It became kind of like a food addiction, which it is a disability. And so now I'm at like 5'10", 265 pounds and gaining weight. I can smile and laugh at that because I'm no longer dying and wasting away because of my cancer. But, now I've created another problem. So I can feel you on that. And where this one just simply takes me stepping away from the canteen and doing exercise, which now it's the wintertime, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. You're running the risk of type 2 diabetes, which is an obsession of mine. The stuff that you can buy through the canteen is just full of sugar. And so we should try to avoid that, but we don't have any options.
Well, I appreciate the diabetic conversation there. I actually don't know where I place on that scale yet, but we'll one day find out.
Okay, I have some questions for you.
Okie dokie.
All right.
I've never had that actually happen before.
Okay, number one, if they swung the gate open and let you out, what would be the first thing you would do?
Probably jump in the ocean or desanitize my body, delouse my body in some way. All joking aside, though, I would have to say, see my children. My daughter is having a child in January, her first one. I'll be a grandpa. Well, what was that, Erwin?
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Erwin. Yeah, I would definitely be making amends with her at the very least and trying to establish a relationship. And my son, too, so you never know. Is that the best for your first question?
Yeah. I would leave the gate. I would walk through the gate looking for a Starbucks myself. I don't.
If they're not on strike.
Yeah. Number two, what do you see happening in the future in the prisons?
In the future of the prisons, well, we've come a long way. We used to wear leashes and dog collars at Alexander Correctional. I mean, I can definitely say the future is hopefully something to do with parole, to deal with all these individuals who are unlawfully convicted and these individuals who have, changed their way around. Like, that would be the best one way there. Some sort of parole, temporary trial run, maybe. But
You have 60 seconds remaining.
do you have any other questions?
Yeah. Who do you admire most?
I'm going to have to pass on that one.
Okay.
Well,
To whom do you feel the most indebted?
I'm going to have to pass on that one. All right. Erwin, let's backtrack on the question. We're coming back with Erwin Jarvis here. What was question 3 that I decided to pass on? Let's go back over that one.
Well, who do you most admire? Personally, my personal hero is President Zelensky of Ukraine. These people are single-handedly held off fascism for almost 3 years now. They've done what the French underground did in World War II, fighting back the Nazis. Is a hero in my book. Next door, I believe, Lech Walesa. Who's that? Is still alive in Poland. He was one of the founders of the Solidarity movement in the Gdansk shipyard, I think, which began the tidal wave which brought down communism in Europe. He went on to become president of Poland for a while. And Walesa was always, he remained.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
That's really cool list you got there, Erwin. I guess mine definitely number one goes to Diana Taurasi. She, at least my list I'm directing towards 2024. She's number one. Number two would be Kim Kardashian, because she's in our community doing all this hard work. Followed by Paris Hilton doing the same thing. I would give it to the U.S. Women's Olympic basketball team, the U.S. Olympics That would be great. Fourth would be U.S. Olympics women's soccer. Go Trinity Rodman. Sorry about that. And the WNBA, unrivaled, you name it, anything women's sports, all inspiring.
Oh, okay. Also, as an old man, I have a tendency to sit in front of football a lot.
And major team.
Local teams, the Carolina Panthers, which they've had a lousy season, but they've been very competitive the last 3 or 4 games.
So where do you stand on college football?
Well, I'm anxiously waiting for the Wasabi Bowl on Saturday when North Carolina plays UConn.
Ooh, UConn.
Well, I'm a Tar Heel fan. I am optimistic that Chapel Bill will turn the team around and they'll gain a little bit more national respect than they've had in the past.
Chapelville, I'm sure you're Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm a Ravens fan. What can I say? Well, did you have another question? What was the fourth question you had, Erwin?
I believe it was, to whom do you feel most indebted?
Jesus.
When I was arrested in 2013, about a dozen people took it upon themselves to start writing to me. And here we are 11, 12 years later, and most of them are still writing. I look forward to those letters. These people, they have become very dear and close friends of mine. I am deeply indebted to them.
Well, tell them hi, Jarvis. Tell them hi.
Pardon?
Tell them hi.
Well, all of you out there who have written to me, thank you. You don't know what it means.
I know how you feel, Erwin. I kind of scratch my head here about my social media on iconvic128906 on Twitter and with this podcast as well. Nobody seems to ever write me. I'm curious if I'm that boring or what. I'm not totally sure. But at least I'm happy that you get that.
Well, remember now, I belong to S generation. That's how we communicated.
That is so true. But, with us having the text message ability, it's kind of funny. On my social media settings where I do a lot of texting and get my host right now to put up my own picture I just took of myself. So, I know I feel sometimes.
Well, I'm afraid the thing in your hand, I am a generation of mine. I am computer retarded. And that's a terrible admission considering how I earn a living for years.
Well, I will say the thing in my hand you're referring to is our tablet that we can make phone calls on and do texting from. It's a big one. It's bigger than my hand. What was your fifth question, Erwin? Because I'm sounding like a dork with what I just said.
How would you like to get?
Yeah. Working in the air production assistant work, you got to start there so you can earn your production credit, become a producer. One job that would be great for our ex-con would be working for the audio and video for broadcast media. Like throw that cameraman in the riot. He'll be all right. He's the next con.
No.
That's a joke, Erwin. But yeah, all seriousness too.
Go back before you were born, and most of the listeners, I was a film student. So I'm kind of an expert on old films.
Well, you're going to have to give us what you mean on that.
Classic films.
Tell me who's your favorite. How about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
I'm going to go with Captain Blood, Errol, Olivia Day.
How about Cleopatra?
Sure. With
This call is from a North Carolina facility.
Casablanca was a great film.
I wonder if we can write that one. What do you think?
It would be hard to change to do Bogart over.
I don't think we have a dude that could be a good part. We have a guy that's suave yet. We got several of them that could do a good job.
Sure. They would, of course, do it differently. What else? I've always been a big fan of westerns. The film critics, the French critics who created film criticism, they ranked High Noon with Gary Cooper, Grace Kelly as the greatest western ever made, and I can't argue with that. That's certainly a great film. They like Stagecoach, John Wayne, Claire Trevor. To that list, I'm going to add Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. Which is fairly recent, but a favorite of mine. And one of my favorite John Wayne movies is Hondo.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have, for years I've not had many people to talk about with film, like screenwriting, and any kind of arts and stuff, because my mom was a literature professor. And I tell you, Erwin, one of the hardest things I ever had to deal with was over a decade ago when I entered a poetry contest, and I wrote a sestina. Well, I lost to a guy who wrote pretty much a bucket list of women in the entertainment industry he wouldn't mind having sexual relations with when he got out of prison. That really burned me in places you just wouldn't understand, and my mom never let me live it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a running joke every time I talked to her. Before she passed away, it remained a joke she had, and I have not yet to return back to the contest we have here. Any thoughts on that, Erwin?
No, I'm gonna let that go. Let that one pass.
Well, did you know that Popeye just got slated for some sort of award here lately? A Lifetime Award or something?
Popeye did? Yeah. No, I didn't hear that.
I wasn't able to read the full article, but I was amazed to see it because I was just joking a few weeks ago that Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live make a great Popeye.
Okay.
If you're from the Robin Williams era, so I'm sure you probably would disagree with me on that.
No, I won't argue with that. No,
Cool. Now, one thing I'll say is, for me, it's like I'm not a person who is a performer. I have what's known as a guy's gravel voice sometimes, where it comes off as distortion, so I can't sing. Lord knows I can't dance. I don't know, it sounds like a Phil Collins song. But all honesty, I like to create. Creating to me is fun.
Yeah. It's, and you're in an environment which actually, one thing you'll have to say about this, but they do encourage it.
Yes. I do love the art stuff that we have here, the ability to be creative in all those forms. We have screenwriting classes and creative writing classes, artistry classes. It's a great camp for that because of the hard work that Warden Lee did for us in the beginning. So for those who like that kind of thing, this is a perfect camp to get connected in with.
Unfortunately, I have no talent in that area.
I don't blame you. I started in the art drawing class, but my duties in the law library kind of like were more important to me at that time. But I am going to make time for it.
Good, good. I mean, there are a lot of other things you can do in here. This environment is just fascinating, and most people on the outside of the wire don't know anything about it.
I am amazed. The things you see on Oz and all the other person shows is nothing like what prison really is. Yeah, it can be a dirty environment, but also there's a community in here where people really care about each other, and sometimes we don't get along, and that's just how life can go sometimes.
No, that's true. I have to admit though that I've been exposed to far more kindness by other inmates than cruelty. Of course, now there are predators in here.
Yeah, no idea. Yes, they are some predators in here for sure. Right? It's nothing to laugh about it, but it is kind of funny because I just did a podcast on calling staff members predators who bring in the poison and the drugs. So
You have 60 seconds remaining.
that's a different conversation entirely for the future. But we're out of time for today. This is Cali Joe. Are you listening?